started a little bit later than I had anticipated, but thanks everybody for showing up tonight. We've been making plans for the last couple of months, actually, the officers and I, to try and get things in order for the upcoming expansion. So wanted to share kind of what's on our minds as far as that goes, and what we're expecting to the kind of changes that we're expecting to have going into the new expansion. So before we get into that, I just wanted to go ahead and talk about phase 5 and 6. We haven't had a guild meeting since phase 4 when we were prepping for AQ. So I just wanted to go ahead and say, we killed AQ. We had consistent improvement in our AQ clears. Tonight we got to see what those clears are supposed to look like again. We had a little bit of shaky clear last time we did AQ, but we did a great job as a guild in AQ coming together there. And then even more so in Nax, that was like the real test for the guild to see what we could do. And everybody pulled out the stops. It was just great to see folks, when we're really under pressure, what people are gonna do. So thanks everybody for all the effort that got put into these last 2 phases, and it makes me hopeful for TBC. So special acknowledgements, Connor and Sig, for kind of pulling us together and getting us through progression and Nax, and their ongoing work managing the raid roster. It's been a huge help. We would have problems if we didn't have some their help every week to make sure that roster gets put together and we know what the bench looks like. Zev, for his work and putting out the schedule, making sure that all the events get posted, and we're in managing attendance so that we're clear on who's been showing up and who's not been. Zabala's been doing a lot of work lately with recruiting, and that's been a huge help. Recruiting is a job that never stops. So without somebody working on that all the time, we'd be in a tough spot. Hjorv and Vigil both came in kind of late. I mean, a little bit after we were already doing Nax, but those two together have really helped to kind of optimize our runs and get us down to a 1-night clear. Without Hjorv and Vigil's effort, we would still be doing this in 2 nights. So shout out to those guys. Extra, of course, the dude does so much work, and I think he's an unsung hero. I think he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. He handles loot and puts up with the constant reminders to loot bosses and loot trash and everything. And he also manages the loot council and holds those meetings to make sure that we're being fair about the way we distribute loot. So thank you, Extra. Halvor is, I'm sure you all know, the dude manages distribution of all the guild bank mats. He's been doing idols, or he's been doing coins since CG. He's been doing idols, scarabs, scraps for tier 3. It's a ton of work. The guy puts in a great amount of time to that job, and really appreciate all of that. He also brings a lot of insights to the table, things that we don't always think about on the officer team. And again, credit for Halvor. Then we have class leaders. There's been a couple class leaders that have gone really out of their way to do as much as they can for their class teams. Sineal, Sharpie, Zill, and Halvor have put in a ton of work to make sure that those loot concerns are known. And then finally, all the raiders who have been going the extra mile. Mel, Hjorv, Sineal, Cell, Corinthian, Farinata, Reynaud. I'm sure there are more, but all these guys are helping out with summons early on before we ever really had a coordinated effort for summons. They kind of started this, and I'm sure everybody's been reaping the benefits of having coordinated summons for Nax. I don't know if everybody knows, but Reynaud, Sineal, and a couple of other people, Catnippin, had put in hours of time to figure out how to get under Nax in the first place, before it was like common knowledge how to do that. So thanks guys, and thank you anybody who I didn't mention who has been putting in extra effort, extra time to help people out that are in need. as far as attunements, or even helping people get their alts ready, especially those who are going to be swapping mains to a new main in TBC. Any of that effort that's put forth to help each other is amazing, right? We wouldn't be a guild if it weren't for everybody chipping in where they can. So, sorry, that was long-winded. I just wanted to make sure I addressed everybody that was on my mind as far as people who have been helping out. So that's going to get me into the meat of what I wanted to talk about tonight. So as far as changes go in TBC, actually, before I do that, really quickly, does anybody have anybody else that I didn't mention that they want to just recognize really quickly for anything?
Yeah, small. Going through logs, you know, offering up his wisdom and analysis and stuff for anyone that's trying to improve themselves. I've taken advantage of his help several times. Definitely small.
I had to echo that. That's big. Small, thank you for that help. All right. Oh yeah, Reynard for the frost resistance. That's a good call out as well. That was a big help when we were trying to cross that hurdle with Saffron.
And just shout out to everybody who's been active in our Discord. I don't post a lot, but I always read every single Discord thread, and it's great to see the conversations that go on and all the insight that people have to offer, all the analysis. So I really enjoy it. And thank you so much for just being a part of this community and putting in so much effort. I really appreciate it.
Dual people cranking out fresh memes on a daily basis.
Yeah, our Barons chat is booming.
It really is.
All right, yeah, good comments, guys. Okay, so gonna go ahead and get into this. So the first thing that I want to talk about as far as changes in TBCs. So we have some rank officer changes and rank changes. First one of those being that we're going to be introducing a new rank of Raider that would be just kind of a recognition of the best Raiders that we have, the people who are coming, bringing everything that they have every night. People who show up consistently, are incredibly dependable, communicate well, people who consistently perform high, people who are always prepared for raids and always have their consumes, and who embody our values, right? The guild values: integrity, respect, humor, patience, growth, and humility. So these are the best of the best raiders that we have. And so this new rank is going to be called Veteran Raider. In order to become a veteran
Raider.
Funny. Yes.
Is it? Okay, we can talk about that later. But so, in order to be a Veteran Raider, you have to have been a raider for 6 months and have at least 80% attendance. So we'll talk about the next. That's the bare minimum for eligibility, and then we look at, is this person meeting those kind of expectations that I just kind of laid out there, the performance, preparedness, values, all of that. So the idea here is that, again, we're recognizing the people that put in the extra effort, and those people will be preferred when it comes down to making loot decisions, deciding who's going to be on raid rosters, etc. Right? So I'll get to the first round of promotions we're going to make on that later on here. But that's the first change: new ranker raider. And I should say, if anyone has any questions during this, you feel free to put them in raid chat. If you wanted to make it an anonymous question, you can send any of the officers a whisper, and we won't let you. We won't have to say who asked the question. If you want to ask an anonymous question that you just want to answer here, it's fine. But just we're gonna kind of collect those, and we'll answer them at the end when we have Q&A. Okay. All right. So that's Veteran Raider. The next change we're going to be making to guild ranks is that we will be we're going to be phasing out the class leader position. So basically, the reason we're doing this is that in TBC, there are more classes and specs that are viable. So there's going to be a lot more class and spec diversity on the raid teams, coupled with smaller raid groups. And so what that means is you end up with fewer of each class and spec per raid. And so the amount of people really on a class team as a class leader that you have to lead is kind of small. And there's also, it kind of necessitates more breadth of knowledge for a class leader. So it's kind of stretching them thin. The other side of it is that having a loot council the way we do, class leaders having 10 class leaders, we have, with the addition of shamans, if we had 10 class leaders going out into to do loot council during a raid, it would be clunky. It doesn't really make any sense. So what we're going to do instead is streamline that. We're removing the class leaders. I'm sure we're going to still tap into these people who have been class leaders for their knowledge. I mean, they were class leaders for a reason to begin with. But what we're going to be doing instead is creating some new officer ranks. So these officer ranks will be essentially consolidated class leaders. They're going to be called role leaders. So we're going to have one for each of the key roles: melee, healer, caster. And essentially they're taking over the class leader responsibilities for all the classes that fall under their respective roles. So this is going to streamline the loot council, hopefully make it a little bit faster. Part of that streamlining process is also this introduction of That's My Bis. If you haven't already created your accounts, I know most of you have, but if you haven't yet, and you're a raider, you want to go ahead and go do that. But the idea here is that we only need 3 people to go ahead and decide how the loot is going to be divvied out for a 25-man raid. Okay. So what that's going to mean then is that, again, like a big part of what class leaders have done is work to talk to each of you about what you're looking for from loot council. So again, that's why That's My Bis is a lot more important now, because it's going to put more of an onus on each of you to let us know what you're looking for so they can make those informed decisions. There's not going to be as much reaching out to you to ask you what you want. So keep your wish lists up to date. All right. So that's essentially the class leader change. I don't think I'm leaving. I don't think I missed anything there. Officers, let me know if I'm glossing over something. So we have been talking about this a lot. I should. What's up?
I was gonna say just timing of that change. I don't know if you mentioned that already or not.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So we're going to be doing that effective next week. So the new loot council will be going on at the next Ramus. If you haven't already updated your That's My Bis, you need to go do that immediately so they can have an idea of what this is going to look like. But we're kind of getting ready for this change coming in TBC, so we're going to go ahead and work out any kinks right now. So as of next Ramus, we'll be doing a 3-man loot council. And I also forgot to say who these role leaders are, right? So the role leader for melee and hunters, we're grouping them together because they have similar loot interests, right? That's going to be Extra Thick. So he's no longer going to be the loot master. He'll continue doing loot master officially, as far as gathering things, but from a loot decision perspective, that's going to be extra. So if you're a hunter, DPS warrior, rogue, extra's your man. Zill is going to be our healer lead. I'm sure you all are very familiar with Zill. She's done an amazing job as druid healer lead, and she's also going to be taking over some responsibility that Connor had been doing as far as organizing heal assignments and things like that. Cineal is going to be our caster lead, and I don't think that should come as much of a surprise to anybody, but Cineal's going to be leading up mages, warlocks, and shadow priests going forward. So any concerns for if it's particular to your role, those are the people you need to go to. All right, and I think that's gonna do it for the role leader change. So that's going on now, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this official here while I'm thinking about it. So oh, Zill's on her hunter. Okay.
And okay.
Well, fine. I can still do this.
Fair enough. Immediate corruption.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
He's had it planned for so long.
That was so good.
You reap what you sow, right, Fernanda?
I didn't sew anything.
All right, so I've just changed Farinata's status to trial raider in the attendance sheet. I think that's appropriate. Welcome, newbie.
True. 6 months starts now.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that's another thing that we guys, just as a footnote, we're going to be changing the recruit rank to trial raider just to make it a little bit clearer who's trying out for raids versus who's just a new member. New members would just be members to start out if they're not looking to raid. And we're also going to be introducing a rank specifically for alts that are ready to raid, that are approved by their role leads to start, just to jump into our raids, to kind of differentiate the people that have been really doing the effort to get their alts geared up and ready for the content versus people who are just kind of looking for, hey, I got a fresh 60, carry me through AQ or whatever it is. So that'll be more pertinent in TBC, but that's coming as well. So, all right, that gets me into raid structure changes. So as everybody should know by now, we're going from a 40-man raid to a 25-man raid structure in TBC. So that means that we're going to, we can't, essentially that means 15 people or so are not going to be in that first raid. So there's got to be 2 raid groups. Okay, so what that's going to look like, though, since we have people that are going to level at different rates, we're going to have different compositional needs depending on, who levels first and what people are playing. I mean, we've done some legwork to see what people are interested in playing, but there's still going to be some, variability in what our compositional needs are. We're going to look to fill the first 20. We're going to look to make a 25-man raid with the first 25 or 30 people that are available, that are leveled up and ready to go, leveled and attuned. But then we're going to be creating a second raid on Saturday, Sundays. So what we're kind of thinking here is people are going to level in waves. So we're going to have I'm sure there's going to be some people who take some time off work and level, and then we'll have like 10 people in the first week that are 70. The second week we'll have, say, 10 more. Third week we're going to have 10 more. So on and so on, right? The people who level really quickly in the beginning are also going to be leveling alts, I'm sure. So we're kind of standing these waves, or these raid groups up in stages. So the first stage is get a 10-man Karazhan group together on Tuesday, Wednesday. The second stage, it may be Saturday, Sunday Karazhan, because there's some people who just aren't available to raid Tuesday, Wednesdays, but we'll look to try to get a weekend group together as soon as we can. Second stage would be having 2 concurrent Karazhan groups going on Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, looking to try and get at least 1 group going on the weekend. Third stage is getting 1 25-man group going, and we're looking at who's ready earliest and still fits the compositional needs, right? We still need to have 5 or 6 healers, we still need to have 2 tanks, and we need to have some variety as far as buffs and debuffs, but we're not going to go full optimization right away. We're looking to just get those raids started. Then we have we'll be looking to try to get a second Tuesday, Wednesday group going to run concurrent with the first raid. Well, we're going to end up favoring the people who have been most dependable, who've been the hardest, that put the most effort forth, that have the highest performance, highest preparedness. Kind of going back to what I said about veteran raiders, those people are going to be preferred for the first raid. Even if they're not the very first people to get leveled up right away, we're still going to be looking at long-term dependability and a high level of performance from the people that we have in our main raid. So there will be a main Tuesday, Wednesday raid, and there will be a secondary Tuesday, Wednesday raid. It's not to say that both raids won't eventually perform at the same level, but we're going to try and optimize to make sure that we're killing that content. So, when I say optimize, I don't mean we're gonna like stack nothing but hunters and warlocks, period. And we're gonna say, we don't want any rogues until phase 3. That's not what I mean by that. But to a reasonable extent, we're gonna try and make sure that we have, a good number of shamans in that first raid, that we have shadow priests, that we're covering as many buffs as we can, without running into like loot problems where we don't have enough loot to go around to everybody. So, So what are the things that you can be doing now to get in, to make sure that you're going to get a spot in that main raid? I guess that's the next thing I should get into. So if you're looking to get into that first 25 man group, there are some things that you can do now to start being viewed more favorably for those positions. So again, it's a limited thing. If I could get all 40 of you into the first raid, that would be great. I would love to do that, but that's just not the reality. So things that we want: high attendance, reliability. If you can't make a raid, good communication that, hey, I'm not going to make it, so that we're able to plan. High performance, being, knowing what your class is, like how your class works, using the right abilities and understanding your rotation, understanding your positioning in fights, kind of all encompassing performance, right? General preparedness. If you're not using consumes right now that are expected of you to be used, like we've been clear about that for a long time. These are the like non-optional consumes. If you're not using those right now, that's not going to reflect well on you later when we decide what that 25 man group looks like. So make sure you know what you should be using and be using that stuff. We look for the big bang for your buck items, right? And we're not saying you get to flask every raid, but like warriors should be mongoosing every night. Be keeping that up. And then just general attitude, right? Going back to what I said about guild values and just being a team player. So those are things you can do now. Going into TBC, leveling quickly obviously is going to be a big thing. If you can get up to 70 faster, you're going to stand a chance to get in the raid earlier on. Like I said, just leveling fast alone, like lacking these other things I was mentioning, might get you in early, but it may mean that you're getting benched later on because there's somebody else who's more dependable, who performs better than you, that levels just slightly slower. That's how it's going to be. And then getting attuned. Like, you can't just level quickly, but you also need to get attuned. So I would recommend, actually, I want to ask everybody here to get the add-on Attune. Not right away, doesn't matter right now, but before TBC comes out. Attune is an add-on that tracks your progress through every attunement, and it'll make your life easier. It'll tell you what you need to do to get attuned, like what the next step is in each attunement process. And if you guys have seen the map of attunement requirements, it gets a little bit complicated in TBC, but beyond that, it also shares with everybody else in the guild who has attune where you are in that attunement process, so people can help you out to get your things knocked out, whether that's heroic attunements to get your keys, or the actual raid attunements. So check out Attune, download it when you can. It's already out there available. It actually tracks attunements for Classic as it stands. If you have like an alt with, that's working on the Onyxia attunement or something, you can use it now, but in TBC. I'd like to see everybody using that. You can tell me generally, like across the board, what the percentage of people we have attuned is, and that's a huge asset. So, and then the other thing, as far as things you can do in TBC to show us that you want to be chosen early for a raid spot, is getting your previous together quickly. Like look at what you need to craft. Go ahead and start working on crafting that stuff. Be talking to people about getting help, getting your gear crafted if you need that. Just kind of get your plans in order for TBC. Okay, so I've been talking a lot. I'll stop there. I'm gonna go ahead and pass this off to Zev to talk a little bit. He's got some notes on attendance and the veteran raider promotions.
Yep. So, many of you may or may not be aware of the attendance sheet that's in our guild roster sheet available in the guild info on Discord. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of particulars. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of the raider expectations going into, any of our raids, but especially into the Burning Crusade. Historically, we've been looking at raider attendance as kind of a delta between the 30-day or 1 month raid schedule and then over the last 90 days. We look to make sure that folks are attending at least 67% of the available raids over 30 days and then 80% over 90. Now, we've been really efficient the last couple of months here with Nax, and we've seen that actually affects kind of the attendance calculations and things that I put into the spreadsheet in ways that we didn't really like. If somebody were to take off a couple of weeks for their wedding and planning or something, their attendance may have, dipped in a way that made us scratch our heads. So Solomon and I took a look at the calculations and kind of our mentality overall when it came to attendance as we were thinking through how we were going to approach both the veteran raider promotions and our roster going into the Burning Crusade. And we've added a few things to that attendance spreadsheet to track both the 30 and 90 that we've been looking at before, as well as an interim 60. When we're looking at metrics in the 30 days, we're not looking at that as a way to, say, move raiders from raider status back to member status or trial status. We'll just be looking at that as a way to warn folks of, hey, it looks like you may be dipping in attendance here. Is this going to be a trend? Is there a change in work schedule or something? Can we move you to a different raid? That kind of thing. When we start seeing a trend over 60 days, and we're looking at maybe a third of the raids that you might be missing, then we're starting to get into the realm of demotions or prioritizing other folks with better attendance. And then still further, when we're at 90 days, that's definitely kind of a clincher, and we're going to be looking at other folks. All of these calculations, every bit of data that's in that sheet is available to everybody that has visibility into that sheet. So if you ever need to question, if you're unsure of what your status is, you can talk to myself or any of the officers, question that, and then have a conversation with me, and I can investigate if there are any issues with your attendance. There have been questions in the past about things like, well, I signed up, but I signed up as absent. How does that calculate into my sheet or into my overall score? We recently added a little bit there to differentiate between folks that signed up and didn't attend. A no-show, as it, for lack of a better term, or folks that signed up as absent but didn't attend because they said they were going to be out. We are giving sign-up credit for folks now that sign up as they're going to be sitting out, and just leaving it that attendance credit to the folks that are going to be showing up or that were benched for raid reasons, for composition reasons. Other than that, I think I don't want to keep drolling on about numbers and things. I'll just jump into the next bit, which is those actual veteran raider promotions. Now, some of the actual numbers, the boring things in the background, may change as I continue to make tweaks to the sheet. But we put together an initial list of raiders that met the metrics that Solo talked about before. So let me just quickly pull that up so that I can be sure that I have the all the names right, and I'll go through that list. So again, these are the folks that kind of embodied all of those raider values that we were looking for. I'm not going to kind of state it as eloquently as Solo was able to, but from kind of the perspective of attendance and those raider values, we had a list of, I'd say, about 12 to 13 people. We have Raynaud, Connor, Rorik, Angloid, Dorok, Sharpie, Cell, Pugil, Druid Surgeons, Namrick, Barkin, Stir Trek, Zelhair, and Corinthian. Congratulations, guys. Again, there may be more of you that simply didn't filter the top of the attendance list, and again, those numbers may change as I tweak the attendance sheet. I'm going to be doing a few things in the background just to make sure that we're prepared for any future changes and how we're going to be looking at attendance, any change in thresholds and that kind of thing. And when we're kind of solid on that and our numbers going into TBC, I'll revisit this and we may have some more promotions. But again, congratulations, guys. I'm going to stop talking and I think I'm going to pass it on to Halvor. Is that right?
I think it's me.
Zabala.
I was going to talk a little bit about recruiting.
Hey guys, this is Zabala, aka Vast. So, you may be asking, do we have room for a boomkin? Or how many paladins do we have? Or, hey, I met this cool rogue, can they join? Etc. So the answer to all the recruiting questions is yes. Right now, Pure Luck is looking for all exceptional members. New expansions historically in World of Warcraft have always been great opportunities for recruiting. People are looking for a home. So if you find somebody that meets our culture, ideally somebody who's mature, who wants to improve at raiding, we are primarily a raiding guild. However, if they do want to PvP in arena, of course, we're going to bring those folks in too. But if you meet somebody while you're leveling, or you want to bring them in, please send them the link to our survey. We have a recruiting survey. It's something I review multiple times a week, and we can get them in. Right now it's a bit difficult because we're still in Classic. We have a full 40 every week, which has been fantastic. But we are looking to expand. As Solo mentioned, we're looking to expand to 2 raid groups, eventually 3 and on. With the advent of BC, we have 25-man raids. So there's a lot more emphasis on personal responsibility and execution when it comes to raids. Think of Nax, except less people, more mechanics, etc. So we're taking a closer look at how people perform individually in raids. We're not exactly a sweaty guild, but we do want to make sure that everybody is at least doing the bare minimum. And those who have played BC in the past know that it's not exactly an expansion that you can just kind of skirt by. Everybody does have to pay attention. So we're looking for exceptional players that want to join. Again, the raid times are Tuesday, Wednesday, normal times, and we're looking at Saturday, Sunday as of right now. But those times may change. So yeah, it doesn't matter the class or spec they are right now. If they're looking to play something in BC, please send them the link. I'll have it again posted in general chat. Have them fill out the survey. This also goes for returning players, people who have played with us in the past who want to come back. Ideally, the first prerequisite is, do they fit our culture, right? Are they mature? Do they like to raid, etc.? Second, of course, is attendance. Can they make our times? Are they consistent? Do they have over 80% attendance rate? And third would be, do they perform well? How good are they of a player? Do they like to improve? Do they take a critical look at the way that they play the game? Are they open to feedback, etc.? These are all things that really help. So yeah, if if you meet anybody on your travels or while you're leveling in BC, please have them fill out the survey, and we will be. I'll have that posted again in general chat. But as you know, raid composition in BC is a little bit different than in Classic. With only 25 slots, there are certain amount of spaces. Basically, TLDR, go find a bunch of Resto Shamans. We need a lot of those.
More or less.
Yeah, and sorry, DPS Warriors, you had your time in the sun, but unfortunately, it's not looking too good in BC.
We no longer need 22 of you.
No,
That's right. So if you find any hunters or warlocks, definitely reach out to those folks. Resto Shamans. But yeah, like I said, we're looking to expand to 3 raid groups. I think would be great, but all exceptional, mature players, please. So any friends you have, think about how you found our guild and who recruited you, and reach out and hopefully bring in some new blood and some new players. Competition breeds better play and better execution. So yeah, let's bring it on.
Yeah, and I know it's just to tack onto this. I know some people have been asking for like very specific outlines of what the rosters will look like and things like that. We have some general ideas of what the rosters are going to look like. We can count on some people on certain teams, but all that stuff's going to be coming much more clear when we actually get into TBC. So we don't want to say too early on, these people definitely have raid slots right this second. We'll try to give you guys as much information as we can when we have a better idea of what those teams are going to look like. But that I would expect that to be early on in TBC after launch.
And as I said in the beginning, recruiting isn't a one-person job; it's a whole guild job. So if you find somebody out there that you play with, that you enjoy playing with, please send them a link to our survey, and hopefully they can make our raid times. That'd be great.
Yeah. All right, you good? You good, Zabala?
Yeah. Next is Halvor. Is he back from work?
Yeah, I'm taking a break from work.
Buddy?
What's up, guys? So I'm gonna quickly kind of go over some things you can do now that'll help prep you for TBC's launch. Kind of some things to think about. I know right now, in general, it's been a little quiet, so now is definitely the time to start prepping. To begin with, if your future main is not a shaman, obviously, hopefully you should be leveling it up to 60, working on your professions, getting some gear that'll help you level a little bit more efficiently, basically making your life easier in the future. Also, you can help other people level their alts and future mains. We're going to need a large push when shamans are released to quickly get them up during the pre-patch up to max level, hopefully to even get them some gear out of Nex or out of AQ or whatever. So we're going to have a lot of low level people that are going to need a boost, and that'd be great if we can all kind of help them in that endeavor, because leveling when everyone else is already at 60 sucks. Other things you can do right now. You can be farming up your honor tokens. That's the AV, Warsong Gulch, and Arathi Basin tokens. Right now, the max for each is 20. During the pre-patch, you'll be able to buy your rank 14 equipment or mounts or whatever with those. The cap on those tokens is going to increase to 100. And then in TBC, I think you'll be able to take all 100 of those and then carry them in, and then eventually use those to help buy your blue PvP gear with resilience on it in TBC. So beyond gearing up your alts, you might want to carry some of those forward for future resilience gear so that you get that stuff quickly. Other things you can be doing. So there are still materials from Classic that will be used in future raiding content. Some of those have gotten pretty cheap in the last couple weeks. The prices have plummeted on a lot of consumes, so you might want to stock up on them now. I imagine that people won't be farming that stuff in the future, so I would bet that in TBC the cost of that stuff is going to go up. Those items include things like free action potions, elemental sharpening stones, brilliant wizard oil, thistle tea, elixir of demon slaying, dark runes, demonic runes, and invisibility potions. All those consumes are still used in TBC, guys, so might not be the worst thing to have a stack of a couple hundred ready to go so you're not paying tons for it later. Another big thing to do, kind of along those lines, is obviously make gold. TBC's expensive. Your flying mount's going to be 5,000 gold. If you have any alts, they're going to want to mount. That's 5,000 gold. You're going to have professions to level to 375. That's expensive. You're going to want to have crafted gear early in TBC. Unlike Classic, where the crafted gear didn't last particularly long for the most part, a lot of the crafted gear, including weapons and armor, lasts through at least phase 5 or up to phase 5. You're going to want to have that stuff made, and it's going to be very, very expensive. So I would plan on either, if you're going to just straight up buy the mats, having a ton of gold, or the other option is to have professionals, which you can level now. Professionals are going to need to be at least level 50. In a lot of professions, if you want to specialize, you're going to have to get them up to 68. That kind of is going to depend on what you're trying to do with your professionals, so you're going to have to do a little research specifically to you. Other things you might want to do. If you're not leveling your future professions for your character now, I would recommend at least looking at the materials now so that you're not trying to buy them in the first couple weeks of TBC. During the pre-patch, you might consider just flat out switching. You're going to be running into people that are going to be doing some crazy power leveling for things like enchanting. People are going to level up enchanting, enchant their ring, drop enchanting, leather up leatherworking. So all those low-level mats that are currently on the market are going to be in demand for the length of TBC. Just something to think about.
How much gold would you say is a good amount of gold to go into TBC with?
Minimum of 8,000 per character you want to have max level.
Okay, let's talk about what the word minimum means.
A good amount.
That is
Recommended amount. We'll say again, recommended.
I just, just want to throw that out there.
Well, okay, so
you just created a hell of a heart attack in Raid right now.
So obviously you don't have to have epic flying. It's going to be really helpful if you're going to try to do open world farming. So you can save yourself 5,000 gold there, or you can make that a late goal. But flying around at really slow speeds might be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to craft the gear, I wouldn't be shocked if your primal mites the first 2 weeks are going to be 1,000 gold a pop. I do think they're going to drop pretty quickly, but it's going to be super, super expensive. You might actually want to be a seller the first couple weeks, guys. If you have an alchemy alt making primal mites, or if you're making spellcloth or something like that, I would highly recommend you sell the first 2 weeks and then start working on your own gear. The really, really rich people are going to be dumping a lot of gold very quickly. Also, another thing you might want to do is you might want to have enough gold to invest the first 2 weeks. I think TBC, we're going to see some ridiculous inflation. After people do get their stuff crafted in their mounts, there really aren't a lot of gold sinks in the game, but paladins will be making 400 gold an hour maybe, doing farms, so there will be a lot of gold entering the market, so all the mats are going to increase price pretty quickly during the course of TBC, so You might want to invest in mats during the first 2 or 3 weeks. So in order to do that, you have to have gold. Just something to think about. Other things you can do now. Now would be a good time to level cooking, first aid, and fishing. If you haven't done those for at least your main, all 3 of those can make you gold. All 3 of those are useful for raiding or making raid consumes. I'm not sure if you guys want to do this, but you could fill out your quest log with 20 completed quests so that you just turn them in at the start of TBC. Could save you an hour or something. You should maybe start thinking about your leveling plan. A lot of us have been talking about doing dungeon farming. If you're doing that, I would maybe start thinking about who you want to level with and getting a group together, or start talking to people. You might want to have consumes for those dungeons. You might want to have repair bots. I think the last thing I saw had, if you do a dungeon farm, you're going to be doing 88 dungeons or something to get to 70. And
like, for an hour for 24
That's
hours.
it?
It's
Easy.
well, yeah, but they are gonna still have a. I think right now they still say they're having a dungeon cap.
I don't think they found it yet. I think that somebody tested it up to and beyond 50, but I don't know that they've hit the cap yet.
Yeah, but that's like per day, right?
Yeah.
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 I don't think you're doing it in 2 days. If you go onto the PTR, I don't think anyone's done it in 2 days.
If you guys are looking
do they still have the XP bug on the PTR? Or did they
no,
fix
they
it?
fixed it. They fixed that.
They fixed it. Yep.
I would plan on it, even if you go like pretty good, I would plan on it being like 4 days to a week of leveling. Would be my guess. And you're going to want to have consumes for that stocked up, guys, just so that you're not... The dungeons are harder than they are in Classic, so... Especially if you're rolling on a new character and you're not necessarily geared up, you might want to have some stuff just to make your leveling a little easier. Another thing to think about, I know a lot of you guys should be clearing out your bags in your AH and obviously your character bags right before launch. As you do that, please don't throw out all your resist gear. Hold on to at least your Nax frost resist until you get something better. And as you pick up resist gear while you're leveling, you might just randomly get something. Just confirm that it's not going to be something that's needed by you or a guildie in the future. And if you're not sure, Guild Bank would love to have it. Just send it to the Guild Bank, please.
All right. Is that good, Halvor?
Yep.
Is that all the
That's
stuff
all I got.
we covered? Okay, thank you. Lots of stuff. So if you are still a little confused about any of that stuff, or if you're just kind of trying to wrap your head around some of the basics for prepping for TBC, that's fine. Just know that you guys can reach out to any of the officers for questions, any of the role leaders or Halvor, to help you get prepared if you're feeling like you're not quite there. All right, so that's gonna bring us to we'll just do a quick pause here, Q&A, see if anyone has any questions. Connor or Zill, did we have anything queued up?
Before we jump into that,
Yeah, go ahead.
I had one whoopsie and a couple more follow-ups. I just want to let you know this is specific to the mages right here. Cineal is following up with me. He's astute when he needs to be when y'all are lighting a fire. He's filled me in that there are a couple numbers that I need to take a look at, but right now I can say that our boy Peregrine has had pretty impeccable attendance, and he should actually be added to the list of promos. And I'm reviewing some of all y'all other mages right now. Cineal should have reviewed this list before I sent it out there.
I'm
Sure.
new.
And then my second thing, like at the beginning of the Q&A, I actually have one. Somebody asked like early on, right when you were dropping that, and it was, Solomon, what are you wearing tonight?
I have on some dinosaur patterned PJs with Santa hats
Solid. Yep.
and
Is
a
there a
black
nice?
polo shirt.
Wow.
The work from home chic.
Oh yeah, PJs and polos.
Is that Post Malone's next album?
PJs and polos.
Damn.
Oh man,
That
should
would
be.
be a great album title.
All right. Zill, Connor, did we have anybody reach out to either you, or did you catch anything in raid chat that we need to talk about?
I didn't have any direct messages or anything said in the raid chat with the 10 people that are in mine, but there was an early question in guild chat in regards to as far as guild needs. I know it was kind of like browsed over with shamans is kind of obviously the primary thing, but was asking like just what will we end up needing class wise. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, and I touched on that briefly. Just, I generally speaking, there's nothing that jumps out to us right now as just having a surplus of them. So pretty much everything is on the table right now. But as far as things that you kind of more safe bets, shamans are always going to be nice to have. Shadow Priest isn't a bad pick. You can run multiple Shadow Priests, and right now we only have two people who have said that they're interested in playing Shadow Priest. Again, Hunter and Warlock are stackable. We only want to do that to a certain point, but they are somewhat of a more safe bet. We just had someone recently say that they were going to play Hunter, but they'd really prefer to play something else now. So that's something that you may consider if you're looking to try and like pick a class that you just want to really be something that's sought after. That's one right there. So like I said, I will try to be a little bit more explicit about exactly what we're going to need when we get closer to that point. But right now, based on the poll results and things, and what I've seen so far, we're looking pretty well spread out from what people want to play. I've reached out to several people and said, from the initial poll release, and hey, you said you wanted to play this. Would you consider playing this or that? And we've kind of smoothed some things out through that process. And I'll probably put out another poll here in the next couple of weeks just to make sure that we're still on the right track. We've picked up some new members. Maybe we're a little bit heavy in one place or another, and we'll get that ironed out.
And just to add on to what you're saying now, because Halvor yelled it out in text, pick something you actually think you'll like. Don't pick something because you're like, oh, it's the most desired class, and then like a month into rating on it, you're like, this is fucking boring. All I do is press chain heal or whatever it is. Like, do research, like watch videos, watch some of the beta testers that are streaming, like whether they're doing PvP or dungeon grinding. Like, you have such a better knowledge pool in this day and age than 16 years ago when everyone went in blind and things were adjusted patch by patch by patch. We're getting the finished game. What you see is what you're going to get. Just make sure that you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we're not gonna be total slaves to the meta. But we're kind of like
I
in
exist.
between, right? Like right, we have a ret paladin, or he was a ret paladin for several phases, most of the game, right? So I mean, we're gonna bend the rules for exceptional players in some ways, and we also try to, go slightly off of what's optimal in order to make it easier for us to get everybody loot. So don't like watch this is the best, most optimal speed clearing composition and expect that that's what we're gonna go for. We're I guess I really hate the term, but semi-hardcore is kind of what we would fall into. We're not gonna be trying to speed clear. We're gonna do what's within reason for what we have. We may end up one day having a raid with multiple rogues in it. Don't have a heart attack if that happens, right? Like
I will fucking quit on the
may
spot.
happen, right? So we might get a situation where we have 3 elemental shamans in the raid instead of 2. That may happen, but yeah, I mean, just like the bottom line is, guys, just talk to us. We're all people. If you're thinking one thing or another, just talk to the officers so we know what you're thinking, and we'll work it out. Like we do with everything.
Yes, our philosophy has always been to have fun, be efficient, over sweat in the meta. So, play something that you enjoy and you're gonna love, and you know, it's gonna be fun. I posted the survey, the recruiting survey, in announcements. So again, if you meet anybody that's interested, please send them the link.
Just real quick to counter to I don't mean to counter here, but like yes, we're the most important thing. Like Badger said, we're trying to be positive, have fun, and everything. But just keep in mind that we have a goal as a guild to clear all the content and understand what the difficulty level of the content is and what might be required for us to do that.
Okay, I got 2 questions while you were answering that one.
Okay.
One is brief and not for you, and then the other one is more directed towards your direction.
Okay.
The short one is actually for Zev from an anonymous donor. Will Dual Wield Devastate get me kicked from the raid? Because as an off tank, I feel there is value there.
Get him out of here.
Well, so I'm going to let you know that I've already got an off tank. So, yeah. We'll not accept applications from Dual Wield Devastate. Sorry.
Okay. And then the serious question.
Anonymous, man.
The serious question that is good. What is the short term on, like, or the short and sweet version of what people can expect if they want to raid on 2 characters?
That's a good question. So early on, if you want to raid on 2 characters, you want to try and position to where you can get into Tuesday, Wednesday raids as well as Saturday, Sunday. So the plan again is to have a Saturday, Sunday alt raid. Initially, that alt raid may be the second main raid. Like just the way things work out, it's easier to get a second raid going using some alts from the main raid, from the first raid. So if you want to raid on both, on 2 tunes, you're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. If you can make that work, then that's your best bet. And I expect that initially some of the people who are starting out in Saturday, Sunday raids might probably be some of the people who aren't able to make it into the Tuesday, Wednesday raids to start with. And then later on, when we actually stand up that second Tuesday, Wednesday raid, I say a few weeks in after, you may be able to move from Saturday, Sunday into the second Tuesday, Wednesday raid. And the reason that we're trying to get 2 Tuesday, Wednesday raids going simultaneously is so that we can have a minimal bench for 2 raids. So we can get them. You have more people raiding more of the time. If you have 2 raids that run at the same time together, then you can share a bench. If one raid has 2 healers call in on the same night, you can pull some healers from the other raid to help fill in for that raid. It just works out better. I don't know if synergy is the right term here, but it works out better for everybody if we can make that happen. So, the short answer again is if you want to raid on 2 characters, look for Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, when is TBC?
That's my question too.
Hey, Extra, when's TBC? He's got all the answers.
He's really busy pulling thread. He'll be back with you in a little bit.
We good with doing our giveaway?
I think we're good. Yeah, if no more questions. I just wanted to pause, make sure no one had anything there, but sounds like we're good. You guys have more questions you want answered, you can always reach out to any of us, like I said. So let's go ahead and do the giveaway and let's break.
How many people do you have in your raid right now?
I have 10 exactly, including myself.
And what about the other raid, the big raid?
36.
36, yes.
All right, is everyone in a raid? Is anyone not in a raid? Please say so in guild chat so we can get you in a raid real quick so you can be entered in the pool. You got 5 seconds. Talk up if you're not in a raid.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Yorv's a cheater. All right, so we got 9 and 1.
Oh, yours are both?
Yeah. I'm calling you a cheater.
Good catch.
So we're not gonna count Maroran. All right. So we'll say 45 people. So I'm gonna do a /1 to 45. First one is gonna be an Orb of Deception. $20. Who's the 20th person in your raid, Solo? Bottom of the group
Bottom
4.
4. Yeah.
Gonna be close.
Close. See me after raid in Stormwind. You're the proud new owner of an Orb of Deception. Unless you already have one, in which case I got an alternate prize.
I have one.
You have one.
Of course he does.
You
Does
got a
Sam want
Portals
one?
deck?
I have that. Oh no, I don't have a Portals deck. I do not.
It is even a Dark Moon Fair week, so you can go turn it in.
It kind of.
Sweet. Get those meme reses.
Is that
Kill
Twisting
someone.
Netherbis? Oh hell yeah.
I think that's the meme res, like the 10%
Yeah.
chance to come back to life.
Yeah, that works in arena, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's good, and I think it does work in arena.
It does.
Yeah.
Good meme.
Okay, so are you good with that, or would you rather have the orb?
Oh no, that's fine. Someone else can have it.
Okay, so the next roll, we're gonna exclude close from the next one. I'm still gonna do a 45. If we just roll another 20, I'll just re-roll.
What if we roll 800 times in a row
9.
like binding?
Who is person number 9, Solo?
It's me.
Hi to Kim.
Hi, Deacon. Do you have an Orb of Deception?
Nope.
Okay. Orb and close, meet me in Stormwind on the bank steps when we are done. I'll be on PO Banker.
All right, congrats, and thank you guys for coming out again. Just real quick before we break, last thing, I small oversight. We have a couple of people who have showed up recently and deserve promotions tonight. So, congratulations, Catnippin and Theo.
Nice. Thanks for rejoining, guys. We're glad to have you back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Welcome to the guild.
Cat's not an alt.
Nice to meet you
There
guys.
we go.
Oh,
Nice to meet you.
Cat's my alt. Thank you.
Doesn't Druid own her?
Well,
All right, we get a port that are gonna join us for a binding run. We can knock that out really quickly. Can we get a port to Ironforge?
Nobody wants to calm down and gamble?
I actually have to get back to work. It's unfortunate.
But you're.
Thanks
I'm gonna.
for coming.
Do you want me to mail it? Close and.
If you want whatever's easiest for you, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm staying by the mailbox.
Same for me.
All right, I think it's on PO Banker.
I cheated
That's
extra.
what I
I'm
mentioned
sorry.
Before you take off, Halvor, when you started talking about how everybody needs to get like their 8K gold minimum, I saw like 6 people throw themselves from that tower.
Hey, I have a very important question. A good one came in right there at the end.
Okay.
Do we have plans for making some kind of like coordination sheet, for like the folks who are effectively no-lifing at launch? To organize groups and whatnot. I know we have that new channel. But do we have? Can we like get a list together? Like I can even help do it. Like just
to plan out like leveling groups.
Yeah, like who's gonna be taking time off work? Who's gonna be like playing 24/7 versus just being online? That kind of thing.
The reason we have not yet polled for that and tried to do some formal organization around that is because we don't have a date yet. So a lot of people want to take time off, but they don't. Depending on when the launch window, like when the launch actually is, they're not sure that they're going to be able to take the time off. So when we have a firm date on the launch, I'll be happy to post a poll to see who is going to be taking that time and who's like what times they're looking to play from and what they're looking for. Until then, I would say just have some conversation in the LFG channel that we made in Discord. Just say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Start getting the ideas together before we have anything set in stone.
swear if Blizz cucks my TBC launch by putting it on like a release weekend or something for work, I'm gonna be beside
I mean,
myself.
I'm the same
They're
boat.
gonna-
Yeah.
They're gonna put it in the middle of my quarter close, so I can't take any time off.
All right, that's it for the
They give
video.
us a month at least.
Killed a dude. Fuck it. And there's the war. Y'all have a good night.